we'll be talking about a book that I want to get it out there, right? So whether we read a book or any how-to books, we have to apply it into our life. We can't just, what most people do is they study, but they never apply. They never actually get to the point where it actually become part of who they are. Now, of course, I have a couple of videos talking that whenever you read a book, you should be able to apply in your life. It's simple to do. This book is very simple and explained in layman terms, and it's very simple to understand. Now, if those who are paralyzed by taking action or procrastination and you have fear because you play a story in your head, so this video is for you, or those, and also those who are also not new into personal development. You're probably not a newbie, and you understand personal development. You start understand the mind power. You understand how the mind works and how everything works, and yet you're not getting the result you want. A lot of people. I did a rant on how the blue Power Ranger set his goals. Billy, and a lot of people have come to me to if you're in personal development and you say that is how the top people set their goals, but then you realize when you take right now I'm not actually ranting or a little bit pissed off. I'm actually I guess joyful in the state, because for the reason is this: people who are still stuck at the level you are. Why are you stuck? And why aren't you getting the result that you want? Why is that? Now, this is me saying, because for one, if you're in personal development and you say the top people like Bob Proctor or Grant Cardone or any business people like Elon Musk sets realistic goals or small goals. Whoa, back up for a second. If Elon Musk, I don't think he set small goals, okay? And Bob Proctor, he said really high goals. So how can you say that, you gotta set really small goals? But it's how you set your goals. But the thing is, when you set small goals, you're probably not getting the result that you want. And you say when you set a high goal, right? It's there for you to grow. And of course, there are uncertainty, and that you can't, that you, in your mind, you said there are uncertain, you have fears and doubt. Well, that's where the mind power come in. So this is where this book came in. So when it comes to all these points, I'm going to talk about consciousness, visualization, seeding, affirmation, the subconscious mind, intuition, concentration and contemplation, belief and imprinting, right? Excuse me for I kind of messed up for the imprinting. So let's say for all those who are enthusiastic about the law of attraction, I'm here to tell you, you may know it intellectually, right? And you may manifest small stuff. Have you ever tried to manifest the bigger stuff, the bigger goal that make you jump out of bed in the morning? Because, for instance, have you ever noticed why Bob Proctor, Brian Tracy become the way they are? It's because they're best-selling authors and they set really high goals. You gotta get to that your head right now, because the thing is, you just be honest about yourself. You're afraid to fail. You're afraid that it won't happen. That's the story that you play in your head. So let's get that fact out of your head right now, that you are afraid to fail. You're afraid that you might look stupid. You're afraid that it might not happen. Well, if you think that way, the law of attraction, it's always working. I was doing an interview with Michael Lozier, my friend, right? The best-selling author of the law of attraction, the science of attracting more what you want and less what you don't. A lot of people struggle, with that. And I set really high goals. I don't even know how to do it. For instance, I set a high goal to interview Michael Lozier, and I didn't know how I was gonna do it. I was so scared, most of the things I said, I was so scared, I didn't even know how I was gonna do it, until I realized the how is not the important thing. The how will come later, but first you must believe that you're gonna do it. So let's talk about consciousness for a second. we live in two worlds, right? We live not only in the physical aspect of the earth, the 3D world that we live in, but we also live in a world of a spiritual realm, of our inner world, inner consciousness, with real thoughts that have a real energy that can impact human beings. Because we humans have auras around us, right? We can influence inanimate objects, like for instance, like psychic. You know, when you hear psychic, what do you like hear about? You know, you hear telepathy, you hear like, you know, like bending spoons, right? Matter of fact, we do live in a world that is real. It's very real, but we let the outside world dictate how we feel and how we act and how we think in our inner world. So in fact, your world are created and molded by your thoughts. And the way that you guys think, even if you're in personal development, even if you're not newbie, you're still afraid at some level. That's okay. Fear is, you know, fear are there to keep you safe. You know, your brain is not there to make you successful. It's up to you to not play that story, but you must overcome that fear that you have, or uncertainty. And you must get to the point that you believe that it's going to happen. Now, visualization is using your imagination and see as if your whole circumstances become true. And here's the thing, when it comes to, for me, when I used to do visualization, but I'm still using it as because I remember Brian Tracy said visualization is still writing down and you're still seeing it. So when it comes to that, see the picture as if it's already happening. You know, tell a story in your mind that it's already happening. Even if you can't picture it, just write it down. If you can't, you know, people have vision boards and stuff like that. You know, when you write it down, you see it. Or just get a picture, something like that, and you see it and because your mind plays a story, right? So that's up to you. Your mind, it's like a movie, right? Your mind, when you play a movie, so you tell a story, and that story is a movie, right? It plays out. So you have to see, most of the time you see yourself as losing, or you say it doesn't happen, therefore it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it become actual fact. Your belief become an actual fact, therefore affect your reality. But if you believe in the goal, if you believe in you, and you believe that somehow the universe will come and it will take, but I used to set a deadline, or, you know, a time limit. I don't do it anymore because that's too stressful. I just take action, and massive action, and believe that it's going to happen. Usually it can happen, right? So let's talk about seeding. At first I was like, what is seeding? Because I had to reread this book to be able to to be able to simplify it for you. Seeding is just basically couple what your visualization or imagination or your ideal lifestyle with an emotion into it, right? With emotion into it. So they say that if your idea is a seed, a spiritual seed, but if you have not coupled with the emotion, it won't become true, because it's not attached, because it's about your thoughts is the male and your emotion is a female, and coupled with that it become one. And when it become one, you give birth to the reality, or a baby, girl, boy, whatever. Same thing, male principle aspect, because we human have the aspect of male and female energy, you know, the law of gender, if you will. Now when it comes to affirmation is just a statement to yourself, either positive or negative, because it can go both ways, right? When you say that it's not going to happen, oh, this is going to, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to me. That's still a statement to yourself, but it's negative. There's a positive statement where I do is I know that circumstances will happen to for me. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen. But I just play a word. I just took a word of already. Because they have the word I will, and then they have the word I am. You know, like Brian Tracy, he said I am. You know, you state it in the present tense. For me, I state it in that it's already happened. I mean, it occurred in some level of the spiritual realm. That it connect to the spiritual mental realm, and then when it comes to fruition, it become a reality. Now, when it comes to understanding the affirmation, what happens with these affirmation is that most people, when they do all these visualization, seeding, and affirmation, right, they don't really take the action. The whole point is you gotta take the action, because if you take the action, it make your whole vibration much stronger. And when your vibration much stronger, what happens is your whole aura, your whole energy is so focused that you'll be able to attract the people, the idea, and the resources that you need. Even if you don't have you don't have the support that you need, even if you don't have the monetary that you have, even if your life is in a bit of a chaos. Now, the subconscious mind, I do understand it to a point that I can say it and I understand it. Now, for those who understand the subconscious mind, what this is using all these, right? Visualization, seeding, and affirmation, and seeding it or planting it to the subconscious mind, right? Your subconscious mind is so powerful that it files all the information, the experience that you had when you were a kid. Now, it's where all the fixed ideas, all the beliefs that you had, it's where you see the world of we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. The belief that you have when you were a kid, when we will talk about belief and imprinting, right? The subconscious mind is about 95%, and the conscious mind is about 5%, they say. And the conscious mind is your thinking mind, and your subconscious mind is your subconscious mind. I mean, your emotional mind, right? And that's where the seeding come in. Because the subconscious mind is, you have to send you can voluntarily send a plan or a purpose into your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind work every single day and night to make that into a reality. Now, the subconscious mind is where the intuition works, right? Since we're talking about intuition, your intuition is based on a inner knowing, a deep inner voice that's saying that you gotta do this. It's your inspired thoughts that's maybe coming from other people, subconscious mind. They said telepathy. So yes, there's such thing as telepathy. There's such thing where you send a thought to a person and it connect to their subconscious mind, and connect, and they have this feeling or a gut feeling to either phone you, or you see it where you bump into them. You say it's a coincidence, or you say out of the blue, faith or karma, stuff like that, right? And these subconscious mind is also where, the subconscious mind is very powerful, right? The subconscious is all your habitual thoughts, your habitual practices, your habitual way of thinking, your habitual way of talking to things. And also it's where most of the problem come from, is the subconscious. Because school didn't teach you about the subconscious, right? School didn't teach you that in order to remember, we have to turn into short-term memory to long-term memory to be able to remember, because most people regurgitate, but they don't. It's enough to regurgitate, it's enough to use repetition, but it's that repetition coupled with recall, because you got to recall to bring up bring the memory surface and make it stronger. Now, intuition can also help you with when you feel that you're in danger. It warns you if someone's coming to you anyway. But intuition is connecting link with the infinite intelligence, if you will. Concentration and contemplation. So, concentration is about focusing on an idea. Let's say you have a goal or a dream. You see, our mind is distracted by social media. I think people are tremendously wasting their time on Facebook instead of creating a life that they want. For those who are on Facebook, for those who are on Twitter, or for those who are on Instagram, stop wasting time and looking at pictures. If you want to create the life you want, stop wasting time on Facebook. Now, I'm not being mean, but wasting your minutes and hours on it while you could have been doing something else, that's opportunity cost. You know what opportunity cost is? You should read the book called Principle of Economics. Meaning, you're sacrificing that time that you could have been making your life better. You know, if you want to make your life better, you have to sacrifice something in your life to be able to get something of a higher nature. You know, higher nature is the lifestyle that you truly want, and that's probably your happiness. You know, and concentration is giving a thought and you focus it. Like I remember Bob Proctor talked about how just, you know, set a light candle and focus on that flame. If your mind wanders off, focus right back on that mind. That's focus. In the book, he talked about that our thoughts can only think, well, we can think one thought at a time, right? But we have so many thoughts that enter our mind and our awareness, because we do have that. We have the I have the laptop on. I have the lights. You know, I have books around me, but the conscious mind is not aware of that, but the subconscious mind is aware, and it's imprinting that. Now, when it comes to contemplation is about take an idea or goal, or like let's say a knowledge. You contemplate it. You go deeply. You go. You sit there and you contemplate, like, how does this work? You wonder, like, for instance, how does all this information work? You contemplate that, and you go deeply, and you wonder, how can I apply this into my life to make my life more successful, more abundance, or aware, whatever it is, and then you contemplate it. Now, belief and imprinting, right? So many of our held, cherished beliefs are not true, but we never took the time to see that it wasn't true. It was actually when we were a kid. When we were a kid, either your parents, your teachers, the society imprints you the false information or inadequate information that you had held. You know, maybe you believe that you're stupid, maybe that you couldn't do anything, and you know, or another belief that people imprint to you by society is this: that if you go to school, you become successful. That's a belief that is imprinted you right now. It's a seed of not possible. You know, school is a way to become successful, or grades. If how you like, you need to get good grades in order to like get high paying job. Those things are imprinted in our life, and some of the most cherished beliefs that most people have are imprinted. They're programmed. You know, when you're a kid, when you were born, you never knew that the world that, you know, you and I, or the video or this content that you just listened is real. Because we were never taught about how our mind works, how our brain works. We were never taught about those things. But yet, opinions are the cheapest commodity on earth. As Napoleon Hill said, you know, opinions are opinions. They're not facts until you make it facts. Let's say someone has an opinion and you listen to it and you don't know if it's real or not. You take that as a truth and it become a fact, right? When it become a fact, it become a belief. And when it become a belief, it starts to imprint into your subconscious mind. And when it becomes the subconscious mind, that is how you behave. And that's how you see the world, right? It's the belief and the idea that you have are the lens which you see the world. And you behave that way. You see, most people have the ridiculous notion about a lot of things that aren't true. Like, for instance, rich people are the rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer, right? But they never understand why the rich are getting richer and why the poor are getting poorer, right? They never understand that. Or, for instance, the belief that is, let's say a kid who have D's or C, maybe he's stupid, and most people think, most of the classmates think that kid is stupid. Are you sure about that? Are you definite that that kid is stupid? Because that used to be me! So that kid is probably bored with the subject. That's why he get D's and C's. But if you place him in a subject that he's interested in, right? And when you place that, he get an A. Interesting, isn't it? And yet we were never taught about this. We were taught about the dumbest things ever. That's how not true. Superstitious. If you break window glass, you have bad luck. First of all, I don't believe in bad luck or good luck anymore. I don't believe in that. And most people believe in luck. There's no such thing. You create your own luck. You create your own luck. There's no such thing as bad luck or good luck. Because I destroyed that belief a long time ago. I used to have that belief. And that was in my head, and then it affect how I act. You see, your belief system is how you see the world and your ideas about the world, and therefore you act upon that idea. It becomes so in you, it becomes part of you. So imprinting is all these visualization, seeding, affirmation, concentration, and contemplation, but it's repetition of an idea coupled with emotion and become your truth. Let's say you take an idea about the law of attraction. You believe it's ridiculous that we don't have that power, but you take that idea, you play it, you kick it around. That's contemplation. You kick it around and you start to play. Maybe I can attract that into my life. Maybe good things will happen to my life. Maybe I will attract the person I need in my life, or maybe I can attract amazing friend into my life. So you start to play that, and you start to play with the words, and what you do is that thought has energy, and that penetrate to the universe, and the universe come to you. And when you hear that, you may say that's ridiculous. Hey, that's okay, that's up to you. What I seen with my own eyes, my God, I seen it and I seen it. How? Well, to tell you a story, I set a high goal that I talked about this in the earlier this video. I set a goal to interview Michael Lozier, right? The best-selling author of The Law of Attraction. And I had the video on it now, where I did a video of an interview of him. And I didn't know how to do it. I was so scared. And then first time I interviewed him, I didn't know what to do. He thought I wanted to interview him. I did, but I make a mistake. And yes, it was scary, And I get to tell that now because I didn't know how to do it. And then therefore he guided me to be able to do that. He's been wonderful. I'm grateful for that. But anyway, when we take an idea, we turn it into, we emotionalize it. What happens? We're giving that thought's energy, right? And what that thought energy becomes so potent, it affects everybody around you, and it's trying to seek a similar vibration. And then when it seeks a similar vibration, what that is, it draws the same vibration to you, a person, an idea to you, and stuff like that. If you like this video on the power of the mind and law of attraction, like my video, because I know I give good stuff, and share this video with people who are into the power of mind, personal development. Subscribe to my channel because I will be giving you more personal development, book reviews, quotes and stuff like that, because I like books. Books are my way of life, my way of thinking. Because in order to change your life, you have to change your philosophy. Jim Rohn, the great Jim Rohn, says you have to if you want to change your life, you start with you. You don't start with people. You can't change people. You can't change what they do, but you can start with what you can do. You can, like, people say start small. I get that. You can have a whole bunch of list of goals, but it's by you starting small consistently toward your life that you want, and you can turn into reality. Dreams do come true. I'm telling you, dreams do come true if you believe in foremost that dreams do come true. Anyway, that's it for today. I think I covered all that stuff, and thank you for watching. I know this video is great because you enjoyed it, and you enjoyed me talking because you believe that. Now, if those who are new, it takes time to learn this information and implement, because every belief that we have. Okay, so let's talk about belief for a second, and believe that using law of attraction first thing. every belief that you have was accumulated over years. You know, when you were, it started when you were a baby, and it accumulated. Therefore, your belief is like that. For instance, if you try to change who you are, and then you feel uncomfortable, that's called cognitive dissonance, meaning you feel uncomfortable. You know, the new idea hit the old idea and you feel uncomfortable. That's not who you are. But in time, your ideas about the world, your idea about who you are changes. You know, my belief, it used to be I'm stupid, and then I change it with reading books, learning more about myself, learning about the mind and brain. It changes, you know, because we have 100 brain cells, and we I don't know why most people don't use them, but I can remember things now without it going away. You know, short-term memory. You know, if you cram things in, you forget the next day. But I learned to use my brain more effectively and more efficiently than school never taught. You know, school never taught me these. You know, I turned to personal development. You know, I turned to books and videos, YouTube videos like Tony Brazine and Brian Tracy, Bob Proctor. You know, and of course John Cahill. Great book. You should get it. Subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.